In 43 AD, legions of Roman soldiers came ashore to England in a second invasion, and this campaign, led by Emperor Claudius, was on a much larger scale than the previous invasion led by Julius Caesar. This Roman legionary wears a tunica, and typical Roman shoes called caligae. The legionary wears a subamalus, which is like an early version of a gambeson or undertunic. This provides a layer of padding for the plate armour which is worn later, and also helps cushion the impact of incoming attacks. The subamalus is laced tight at the sides, and features tassels around the bottom and the sleeves. These are called terigues, and while offering a small amount of protection, they are mainly a decorative addition. Despite popular belief, the Roman military did not all wear red as uniform. Indeed, many colours were present, most commonly beige, blue, green and yellow. The soldier wears his plate armour, which is called a lorica segmentata. We do not know what the Romans actually called this armour, as the name lorica segmentata was coined by the Victorians some 1,800 years later. The armour consists of many segmented plates, which are hinged and strapped together, providing a good amount of mobility while also providing excellent protection against both slashing and stabbing attacks, as each segment folds over the other so there are no gaps. This reconstruction is based off a find from Calcrese, which is the famed site of the Teutoburg Forest massacre in 9 AD. The find is the earliest example of lorica segmentata ever discovered. As the artifact found was not complete, elements of the later Corbridge find has been used in this reconstruction. Some variants of Roman plate armour also featured segmented arm protection, which was called a manica. These additional pieces were developed during the Dacian campaigns, where the natives were using falx, a weapon similar to the scythe with a curved blade which could sometimes hook over a shield and hit the legionary behind. The hinges and hooks on the lorica segmentata are made from brass or copper, and originals have often been found with stylized decorations on the brasswork. A classic feature of the Roman military was the gladius. This is a sword with a broad blade and a very severe point, designed specifically for stabbing and opening up large wounds with each thrust, maximizing injury and blood loss to dispatch an opponent quickly. After the baldric, a second belt named a boltius is worn, which comes with jangly straps on the front called the cingulum. The cingulum is a rather curious component as their purpose is not yet confirmed, but it is understood that only soldiers were permitted to wear them, so they held a certain level of status. They weren't particularly useful as a form of protection, but some experts believe that they would have made a lot of noise during a military march. So they could have aided in psychological warfare, as the Roman legions would be heard louder and louder as they draw near. The legionary also carries a pugio, which is a small dagger with a similar blade to the gladius. The helmet, named a gallia, is worn. This classic style of helmet, which we associate with the Roman Empire, was actually first worn by the Germanic or Gallic tribes, and the Romans later adopted it for their own use. This specific design is called the Gallic Type A, and is one of the older versions of this style of helmet. The Roman military favoured a large shield called a scutum. This curved rectangular shape provided an excellent level of protection to the soldier, and was also used as a weapon in its own right. A legionary could use the metal boss in the centre of the shield to plough into an opponent, barging them back, but they could also slam the bottom of the shield down on an opponent's foot, debilitating them before thrusting their gladius into the injured opponent. Again, the classic yellow lightning bolt with wings on a red background is only one type of shield design, and indeed we do not actually know how their shields were decorated as so few examples survive. We do know that soldiers of the Roman period particularly favoured the pagan god Mithras, who was often depicted slaying a bull, so this animal may have featured on Roman shields. The Pelum came in two styles, often a heavy and light variant. These could be thrown into an opponent in volleys, particularly effective at short range, but equally they were used as a melee weapon to thrust over or to the side of the shield. Due to the shield being so large, leg or arm protection wasn't seen as necessary by the Roman Empire, and the soldiers were well trained in tactics to protect themselves in combat in a variety of situations, using both the Pelum and the gladius effectively to dispatch an opponent. Again, despite popular belief, these swords weren't actually that short in comparison to other swords of the period. Later, the Romans adopted the spatha, which had a longer blade, often used by the cavalry units called the equites. The sword is carried in a scabbard, which is swung over the shoulder by the use of a baldric. An important detail to note is that the sword is carried on the right-hand side of the body, so the soldier would not have to draw the sword across the body. This may be because the Roman military were trained to be in close formation, and their large shields may have prevented them from cross-drawing effectively with speed. It should also be said that while baldrics were certainly popular for legionaries during the Roman period, they were not universal, and belt scabbards were also commonly used. The specific style of gladius used here is dubbed the Pompei, due to where the original was found. This was made with a thinner blade and therefore cheaper to manufacture. This style was used throughout the 1st century AD, so would have certainly been present in the Second Campaign of Britain, but they were also used for several centuries after, so evidently they were deemed suitable to do the job required for a long time. I would like to give a massive thank you to the Longthorpe Legion Roman reenactment group who helped make this video possible. Please support them by following their social media in the description below, and be sure to attend their incredibly authentic living history events to help keep this wonderful hobby of historical reenactment thriving in British culture for generations to come.